Now it's not just recording. There's an AI companion in the room too.
Yay. You need a
Yeah,
companion now, huh?
it's become a threesome.
A robot companion. Queen's Landing is the episode title. It wasn't up when I started the episode.
I'm glad you've been checking those because I always intend to and then get all caught up and then let's go into the podcast mode.
Traditionally, you're the title lord, but I am traditionally the titular lord. So I think I got to pitch in sometimes. It's teamwork.
Some like to pitch and some like to catch.
Welcome to this episode of the Prestige Ish Media Podcast. I'm your host, Craig Lake, and with me, I've got nothing quippy this week, so you'll have to fill her in, Dan. It's Dan McNair. How are you this evening?
I'm doing great. Thank you for sparing me at least of being hacked at.
What have you done, Dan? So, this episode is season 3, episode 2. The title is Queen's Landing, a little repartee on King's Landing. The queen that finally was. What's your initial reactions and rating on this episode?
I'm continuing this wave of excitement for this season. I think when we covered the previous episode, I probably gave it my highest rating for this show ever. And I do think that the season 3 premiere, in my opinion, was the best episode of this show yet. And I think this episode, it had a lot of intensity through the episode as we were building towards this return to King's Landing. And it felt momentous. It felt like all sorts of things could go wrong on a razor's edge at any minute. I thought the music did a good job of keeping me on the edge of my seat and not knowing what to do. So I gave this episode a solid flat 9.
Okay. And that's pretty in line. I think last week maybe you gave it a 9.2 or a 9.1,
I gave it
but
a 9-1, yeah.
yeah, I'm at a 7.5 again. I probably like last week's episode a little bit more. I think the show is still earning my trust back, and then I don't know that I enjoy some of the elements that are left. I think we get deaths in a show like this, and so you've got to replace those characters with characters you like more than what you've seen before. And I don't know that I'm there. Specifically, the Alan side quest is probably my least favorite thing going on. I guess the upcoming, I'm curious to see where the Alys Rivers and Damon stuff is going.
Come on.
Him too. And yeah, so we'll just see, but not bad. I think these are two solid episodes. I'm just not as invested yet as you are. This show's got to do a little bit more to win me back, I think.
And that makes sense to newer viewers. We finished season 2 in the same place, and I went through it recently, and it wasn't as bad as I remembered. So I came in ready for season 3 as if the sins had been washed away by the last episode and baptized anew. But I can understand having trepidation with this show and with this franchise at times to where it takes a little while to earn your trust. I'm feeling some of the new characters that they introduced last season aren't the same caliber, like Ulf and Hugh. They're not maybe as quippy or wild, but some of the problems I had with the heel dragging in season 2, I'm definitely not feeling in this season. It seems like we're moving along. We've got a wide array of characters, and what we got from all of them, I can understand some of the Alan and Adam stuff being at the downer end of the episode, but at least we didn't get lost there for half an episode.
No, I agree. And we didn't spend a lot of time with Raina either. I definitely, and I don't know from the books, once again, we haven't read the books, and I think the books are to be interpreted, but I don't have a really great like for Reina. Bela seems to be the better sister, and I know that Reina is supposed to be the outcast, but she's just I don't know, she's a little awkward. People from the Vale are always awkward, right?
And you've
So
got a weird thing against bug eyes. You've mentioned before.
I like Ella Purnell, but hers are definitely out there.
Hers are alien. They aren't even bug. They're alien eyes.
She's mini Wemby, but yeah, I don't know. It's just I'm pro Ulf and Alf, as so just we could use more of him. There's a lot going on, so we'll just have to see where it all goes. I think some of these other armies, I don't know that we understand all the players and all of them yet anyway. I actually thought Tywin or Tylin or whichever one of them both died. I think. I guess we didn't see the other one actually die that went into the water, right? Like,
Yeah, he was on the boat where a lot of other people attacked, and obviously he wasn't going to go jump on Corliss's ship. So he could be hiding in the hull somewhere.
yeah, it's an interesting turn of phrase. But yeah, so let's get into this thing a little bit and we'll go as we go here. We start that Jace is dead. It's like the battle tis won, but is this the definition of winning the battle but losing the war? We get Rhaenyra who's beating on Jason saying, "What have you done?" I think is it Lord, it's not Sonny Liston, but what is it, Lord Laurent, that has to atone from locking her up in the bell tower, but she basically says, "What good is it to take your life?" And like everybody else that aided in this, their lives should be forfeit. But I think if there's a positive of Rhaenyra, here's one of them where she doesn't just go to take someone's head to take somebody's head.
Yeah, she doesn't act in vengeance. I did think the way it was played was interesting because as she's in grief over Jace's death, she does these deer antler hands a
Yeah.
whole lot with the "what did you do?" And it looked like she was going to try and give him CPR the wrong way for a minute, but I thought that was interesting. And I also thought this was maybe a flip on when she lost Luke at the end of season one, beginning of season two. And there she didn't really get any finality. She just had to fly around and find the dragon wing. And so here, like, she gets closure and it's not that great either.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that's coming out of this is Bela has not ratted out her sister, right? We know, as far as everybody else knows, there's a new dragon in play, but they don't, or sheep stealer, but they don't know that there was a rider or who that rider was.
Yeah, she definitely obscured that fact. And I think she might have even left it out to the possibility that maybe there was no rider. Maybe it was just a dragon flying around. And because at one point, Rhaenyra says something like, "How could it have no rider and be flying through battle?"
Bela's sheep stealer, he's a wild and crazy guy.
All the sheep stealer hate in the last week. I'm really team sheep stealer in the full of it.
Accepted. Speaking of, we get a Dragon Up Your Ass song. If I were to pick a title, I think that's the title I have. But I guess we've got the Northerners. Is it the Rivermen who are also in it, or did they kill the Rivermen? I know they were like fish heads up your ass too, or something to do with fish, slap a
It's
fish.
nice to see Damon's got a side gig doing a Flogging Molly cover band.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on that? We kind of end with Damon getting the message from the Queen that Jace has died.
At the beginning, the celebration is fun, and that's the way to celebrate. And everything here made sense. We get a quick look at young Tully and the Stark Bannermen and all of these people, but it was the Alys Rivers stuff here that I thought was more interesting.
There's a quote that I wanted to point out first where they said they would be the Queen's fist. But yeah, second to that, we get Alys Rivers. She wants the Harrenhal to be like given to her, but she doesn't have titles, lord's titles, or whatever all of that dog and pony show is. Damon calls her a midwife. So you would assume this would be the beginning of a rift that maybe leaves the door open for Aemond, but we don't really know where Aemond's going to go. It seems like he's stabbed and on the ropes at the end of last episode. but I feel like getting stabbed by the third lowest strong boy, probably, or even fourth lowest, I think probably even lower than Laris that one was. But
Lower than old Clubfoot.
I don't imagine that will be the end of him yet. And did Damon give Alys Rivers a reason to help somebody else here or be against Damon if he's not going to offer her food and instead offer her rubies?
I think this all starts to set up pretty interestingly. I don't know if you marked it, but she says, "Don't come back here. Remember what I told you." And that's in reference to something from season two. I don't know if you remember, but she says, "You're gonna die here at Harrenhal."
Okay, gotcha.
And so that was a little refresher for me, having just watched season two recently. And so now, always in the back of my mind, I'm like, so is Damon leaving Harrenhal? When's he going to come back? Because I'm expecting this prophecy to play out at 1,000%.
Now, what was the weird prophecy that Helena gave Aemond? Was it that he's going to die at King's Landing or that he was going to die at Harrenhal?
I don't remember Helena giving
She
Aemon the prophecy.
Yeah, she gave him some sort of thing when he was trying to get her to ride dragons with her. And then she did another creepy message too. It was when I think the main point of it was that she had foreseen that he had tried to kill Aegon possibly. But I thought there was another level to that too. But to your point, yeah, I think Damon going back there would not go well for him based on that.
Yeah, so something, I don't know if it's going to happen this season, but as things progress, that's definitely on my radar.
Now, are you pro or con Alys Rivers?
I'm con, but let me check my notes here.
Con. Oh, sorry.
But the lady has Alys Rivers in her Deadpool. I'm not into creepy witch chicks.
Yeah, I'm con Alys Rivers too. I think she's a little too creepy eyed for me. She's
Yeah.
definitely, I almost think we got this, but she's definitely the witchy version that will stare through the painting at somebody, like in Scooby Doo, creeping through the walls of Harrenhal. If it already happened, then it happened. But if it hasn't, that's basically her. So we get Bela and Alan looking, and then Adam starts looking from above. Do we think that Bela and Alan are going to be a thing? Is this where this is headed with all the incest and the titles?
There was something that was said, and maybe it was just how it was played. The show does a lot with incest, to your point, of where you couldn't deny the possibility.
Yeah, we did
Um,
get a mother son kiss last week.
yeah. And here they are reminiscing about good old grandpappy or dad, depending on how you look at it. And sometimes I have to remind myself of the family tree. Okay, so he's her uncle, and try and keep a lot of that straight. But I did pick up just a little bit of chemistry that might be put out there. Hopefully not, though.
I think it was more rebound chemistry. It's he's dead, what's next kind of thing. I think it was the what about your betrothed line is probably the line you're referring to, and it's next man up. So Corliss is alive. An interesting quote from him. He says, "Is if this be a victory, I hope I never see another." Might be a little foreshadowing there. Corliss gives Alan his name, which he calls more valuable than gold. I guess the thought process is that his treasure room and castle's been burned at this point. We kind of saw the beginnings of that last episode, but I would assume that's more or less completed, or at least his fleet is depleted. He's shooting blanks, basically. But did he already give Adam his name when he got the dragon first? Is that why he doesn't have to give him his name here? Or that's what I'm wondering as well. I don't quite remember that.
Yeah, as far as the giving the name thing, I'm not 100% dialed in. I remember when Adam claimed it, Corliss went to him and said, "I'm proud of you, son." And that was about it, and walked out. And it felt like Corliss didn't even know how to do this, how to be a human. It was very robotic and awkward. And so maybe Corliss is just trying to set things right. And I think with Rhaenys out of the picture, it's a lot easier because he's not going to piss her off. And that kind of goes to Baela's statement of he's just always trying to make her happy.
Yeah, which is, I think, fair. I think in a different way, we saw this in the first Game of Thrones with Ned Stark's wife not wanting, like, the bastard son coming up at all was always an insult to her. And so
Well,
trying
and
to
the thing that I
avoid
took it
that.
as was when Roose Bolton on the backside of it finally gives Ramsay his name and is like, "Oh, you done good. You're not a bastard anymore."
Yeah. So Corliss was not under his hole, but he gives Alan his name. We get Allison Commander Lint, who I didn't. Is that the guy that ended up being with the City Watch, or is that somebody else?
I think that is the guy that was like Dane's old City Watch commander or what.
Okay, so she tips the hand there. Wolf is kind of bitch slapped and talked down to by Damon. He's laying the law because they were off the wagon and Adam was off the plan. But I guess the point was that Aemon didn't come wherever they were hiding, just off of Harrenhal, I guess you would say. And then also Ulf was saying that there was something weird with Alys Rivers. So I guess that's what we get out of that. Any thoughts there?
It does, however this all plays out, it makes you wonder because it seems like Damon really wanted the three new Dragon Riders to stay there because they weren't going to do anything at the Battle of the Gullet. That was a lost cause, even though Alice basically sent them there. So it makes you wonder would things have played out differently if they did stay there when Aemon eventually single-handedly tries to take out Harrenhal.
Yeah, that is interesting. And Alice set that in motion in some ways, it would seem.
Frickin' witches.
So it is Missaria or Bissara.
You were confusing her with Shay. Later I had to think, who was the other one? Oh, it was Shay that was
Yeah,
Tyrion's.
they're the same thing. They're both whores. They are. That's their profession of trade.
World's oldest.
My lion. So Masera and Damon are will they, won't they, will they with my wife kind of thing. I don't know.
What fanfic are you writing?
Because they used to have a thing, but then she's banging the wife, and so they're all like dancing around this.
They did, but I say Miss Arya and Damon more as adversaries now. I don't think there's any them hooking back up or
Well,
rekindling anything.
and after the episode, the actor who plays Damon, says that he reads it as that they actually both still really each other. That's how he perceived it. I think it's still a little bit of a triangle, if you will.
Pink on one side.
Alicent calls a small council meeting, and somehow we end up with Lord. Is it Lord Jasper who does the faux rape?
Yeah, Lord Jasper. I have Lord Jasper equals Lord Creeper.
And how about a stop raping, sir? Can we get one of those? That scene made me pretty uncomfortable. I'm glad he didn't go all the way, but even as far as they went, wasn't a fun time.
Didn't she really open herself to it by accepting Kristen
Dan,
Cole? Like,
Dan, not a she was asking for
well,
it,
this
but
dumbass thinks, oh, Kristen Cole got it. Why doesn't the rest of the small council?
I think
That's
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 very
how much of a douche
inappropriate.
this Lord Jasper is. I'm a little jealous.
Yeah. Now, second to that, we get the Rhaenyra in bed scene. And I guess it's hard not for me to bring up that last episode, she wants to be seen as this tough queen, but we spend most of this episode with her crying. And if you didn't scare off the female audience with your rape take, I'll just say that I think you got to kind of suck it up, Buttercup, if you want to be this
Her son
tough
just
queen.
died, you heartless fruitcake.
I don't know. I
She
just
gets she gets a day to mourn.
She also says, I have no stomach for it, for the, I think it was for the throne. And so basically, Damon kind of allures her with the titular thoughts of the prophecy. And if the prophecy were true, like, what would you do? It's Was like get up rock moment.
We get another Daenerys reference as he alludes to the one fever dream he had last season that made sense.
Yeah, so we definitely saw her in naked back with the dragons. We didn't get full frontal that season, but tune into Game of Thrones if you need some of that. So yeah, very uncomfortable with the rape scene. The maester kind of saves her. They end up arresting Lord Jasper or bringing him down into the cells below. To the point of what we talked about, though, is Damon kind of trust of Rhaenyra and position. Miss Sarah says, gives like a last, remember which one of us has been faithful. That seemed a little desperate on her part. Any take on to where that's going?
I thought it was cute and interesting when they were sitting next to each other on the bench.
Yeah, that when and them being Damon and Masara.
Yeah, and she's basically wearing a light color and he's wearing a dark color, and it felt like an angel and a devil each on Rhaenyra's shoulders.
Okay, that's fair. Speaking of creepy, we get the exchange with Alicent and Helena where Alicent basically says she just made a mistake that because Helena keeps asking her about what her grandfather had said and what she had told her he said, and she's I may have made a mistake, and basically says that she may yet redeem Helena. Helena wants to keep chickens, possible chicken reference to be played there.
I I thought here it was interesting that Allison tells Helena, "Your words cut me like a spear." You know
Yeah.
what didn't cut her like a spear? Lord Jasper.
Or what did Sir Kristen Cole, but she gets Helena basically to back her up as they're trying to get soldiers to stand down because just the word of the former queen wasn't enough. Technically, in succession, the current standing queen would even have partial superiority over Aemond, especially with him being gone.
Yeah, with the throne abdication, she's next in line to issue whatever decrees.
Kristen Cole and his crew, who've been camping and also raping, they see Vagar
Stop raping, sir.
go over their camp, and so they know to head to Harrenhal. Effectively, we hear them say Harrenhal. We assume that's what they're doing. At Harrenhal, Aemon burns everyone more or less. Walks in on
Simon Strong.
Lord Strong, and I assume those are the two of the other Strong boys. He challenges Lord Strong to a duel. Who doesn't want to fight? It is a little similar to when Damon got there and ate with them, but instead of eating, he basically just stabs Lord Strong up front while killing another Strong, the lowliest of Strongs. Slips a knife or a sword or a peeper in there on old
I think
Aemon.
he gets a little dagger in between the ribs.
And Aemon doesn't really act like it hurt at first, but as he, I think, has eventually laid them all out, he starts realizing he's bleeding and hits the deck and asks Alys Rivers to help him. Any thoughts there?
First off, I think Simon Strong goes really underappreciated in his comedic effect. The way he just deadpan and says, burst through the doors, and he's like, I confess, we had not been expecting you. It's just played so well. He's so down to earth and an innocent, amicable manner.
Yeah, and I was gonna say affable, but I don't know. I don't not find him funny, but I don't know if he's as funny as he's just likable. But he's just you enjoy seeing him on your screen. There's not a lot of negatives, and he doesn't pull away from anything either. He just fits into the scenes, but you notice him and he's enjoyable.
Especially in a show with so many villains and so many people that just have greed. And he's like, yeah, let's do that. Okay. I just got a kick out of him. He will be missed. RIP. He was not on a Deadpool.
So we have the like all four of the dragons converging. Eventually, Damon and Rhaenyra make their way into the halls. At first, they're met with battering resistance, but as they get to the throne room,
I thought almost there were just guys in outfits coming out of the privy and round in the corner and oh, I heard there was something going on. What's up? Stab in the gut.
I figured you would like that quick action procession of stabbing for sure. But they get to the throne room and ultimately they're converged on by, I guess that's the king's army, right?
So
Because
that's
the city
there's a
watch
king's
is,
guard and there's a city watch. And
so
this
it's the
is,
king's guard that is trying to stare down Rhaenyra and Damon. And
yeah.
then the city watch shows up. Go
And the
ahead.
whole time I'm thinking Damon's got to die in Harrenhal, so this ain't gonna happen.
Alys Rivers truther you are. So basically, the City Watch remembers Damon and they say to drop their swords or perish as traitors. Rhaenyra asks for them to bring the usurper to her, which is Aegon,
She says, Lego my Aegon.
but Aegon is gone. And at some point, they're almost going to kill the Maester, but he's going to provide the Raper. And while going to get the Raper, and also, you probably remember better than me being on a closer watch, but when they did start closing down, the High Towers started taking over. They put a lot of the Queen's supporters, they either hung them right there, they put them in the dungeons or whatever. And so there's still leftover contingents of her people that they're letting out. As that's all going, there's a gift from Laris Strong, which ends up being Otto Hightower. So that's interesting. What did you
So
make of
pause
that?
really quick
Yeah.
because have we got to the whole City Watch to the rescue? Definitely the Sir Largent being one of Damon's former employees and them all coming into the rescue. Like, I thought that was a good note. And for me, the episode could have ended there and it would have been a great episode. And I think another show probably would have done that. But the fact that we follow around into the dungeons and get this auto reveal, to me, that's where the show takes it up another notch. And as like the creepy wall-eyed guy with the torch is saying, Sir Laris left you a gift, just like you in Widow's Bay, where you're like mentally going through, okay, what could the gift be? What could the gift be? This is where like auto registered for me and it clicked a couple moments before the reveal. Actually, as he was looking down the hallway before he even started laughing, I'm like, it's Otto. And I started yelling it out here in the room. And I think my downstairs neighbor was probably, what the hell is Otto?
He
But
just
that
thought you
felt really
were
good.
banging Otto, probably. So yeah, I wasn't registering Otto, but obviously as soon as I saw him, I was like, oh duh. Once again, I ruffle at Rhaenyra being such about this. I want to see her man up on the front side, not reluctantly. I get that she's not quick to sword, which don't kill Alicent, don't kill Helena, but this person is the one who basically positioned your best friend to bang your dad, started all of this in the first place. At what point do you muster enough to do this without crying? Now, I understand crying when she sees Alicent because Alicent set this whole thing up for her and now she's killed her dad. And so I could understand that part of it being conflicting, but also Alicent knew somebody's head had to go, which is why she was trying to get her and Helena out of there. So by killing Otto Hightower, hopefully it saved their heads. What's your read of Rhaenyra still being hesitant to do anything?
Okay, so I have three separate thoughts here. The
Okay.
first one is Laris frickin' playing both sides. He is the little finger of this show.
Some might call him the little toe of the show, but
Fair. But yeah, he's running off on a caper with Aegon. Meanwhile, he's got things in place to make Daemon happy and score points with him. So I thought that was funny. Allison, what a exit strategy you have. We've maybe as viewers of the show and fans of the land, we know that getting out of King's Landing when there's a whole ruckus whether it's in Game of Thrones when Arya gets caught up, or Rhaenys, where everybody's going to Aegon's crowning, or things like that. Like this, that never works. You need a boat, you need a dragon, you need somewhere out of there. And then the third thing I thought, like Rhaenyra blowing snot chunks out like crazy during this crying scene. I can understand, like, she came ready for Aegon's head. That's the head that was promised. She didn't want Otto head. He's a withered old man. She knows there will be consequences for this. But when she's blowing snot rockets out of the right nostril, and then I may want to do a deep dive and see if there's a continuity error where they got like huge green slime that switches nostrils partway through the scene. Check into it. It may be there. But you know how in the last season of Game of Thrones, there was the whole Starbucks cup error? I wouldn't
Yeah.
have mind seeing a little product placement for Kleenex right about now. I thought that would have been well placed.
I'll respond to a few of your points. I think Otto Laris over at a point. Wasn't he getting closer to the king and then Otto dicked him over? So I think he feels like Otto had it coming, and I think Otto was the master manipulator prior to him. So with Otto out of the picture, it definitely puts Laris in more of a pull position, if you will. I was surprised that Alicent wasn't just swimming in the gods woods in her pantaloons or
Put
something.
on the bloomers. I will say that my girl confirmed they were bloomers.
That's what I said they were.
I know, but it was a huge debate last season.
Because Jessica Z doesn't know dick for dick.
You and Z almost came to blows over it.
And I was right, of course. Now, you were talking about Rhaenyra not wanting Otto head, but that's not certainly what your downstairs neighbor thought of you as you were screaming out his name. And so I will say on that, Dan might have been a two whacker, but Rhaenyra was a two hacker. Cutting his head off, as he said, I did my best. Damon slays the raper, don't fear the reaper. I thought as well, and I have traditionally been pro Rhaenyra in previous seasons, but the throne walk for me, it was almost slower than Viserys getting on the throne as the crypt keeper. It's just get on this bad boy, let's get it over
She
with.
takes after her dad.
But eventually we see the close as Alicent and Rhaenyra making this eye contact. And so we don't really know where this relationship is as Alicent's dad's head is on the floor. And I do want to comment that obviously the best part of the slow throne walk, however, was the blood reflection shot of her ascending to the crown. I thought photography wise, that was very well done. And that's about all I got. What's kind of your response to some of the end there?
I loved it. This is something that we've been building towards this whole show, seeing Rhaenyra on the throne. I didn't know if we'd ever get there. And so in this moment, it feels definitely things are happening. They're just not, it felt for a lot of season two like they were wallowing around, sitting in little meetings, but not a lot aside from the Battle of Rook's Rest really happened. They're coming out with major stakes and major occurrences 2 episodes into this, and it's a roller coaster ride for me. I'm loving it.
Yeah, and to your point, if last episode was last season's finale and this episode was this season's premiere, I think the flow
That would have been a good
feels
bookend, yeah.
feels a little bit better, even if these were the last two. Season one closed so strong with the death of her first son. I think it would have been very bookended to have the second season end with the death of Jace. And we did not get that. And the season has started strong, but until I know what the whole season has in store, I'm really just still feeling myself out. But I thought both of these episodes have been good episodes. Want to be very clear there.
Cool. Yeah, I was wondering after last week's episode if it would take a major downturn and stall and lull. But the fact that we got Rhaenyra right into King's Landing, and just the whole time through it, I was just feeling tension, like how many other things could go wrong. And you see Aegon breaking free and running off on his own. And is Alicent gonna do what she said and win over all these men that don't want to listen to a queen and have their marching orders and are stuck feeling a certain way. The tension was exciting, and I thought the payoff was fantastic.
Yeah, and I'd have to get in my DeLorean and crank up the Huey Lewis and the news and go back in time. But I feel like the first two episodes of last season were pretty good. I feel like the pacing started well, and then we just ended up in a quagmire. And hoping that's not what happens this season. And we'll just see how the pacing of the season goes. I don't know. I'll have to look it up, but I don't know we have an actual episode for this count for this season if it's 8 or 10.
Yeah, I was wondering that myself, but right now in the moment, just enjoying it.
Says 8, so I think that's fair as long as they use them.
For starters, as of this episode, I'm beating her 2-1 in the dead pool
Okay, that's good.
because I'm not considering Eamon dead, but
Correct. He's not dead yet. What deaths do you two have? Tell me about it.
so I've got Admiral Sherakau Lohar, the
Okay.
girl from the Triarchy, and I just picked up Otto.
Okay.
He's got Jace. She had Jace on her board.
Okay. So you guys are 2-1. You'll have to turn that over to me later and we can post it and I'll repost it or something like that
Yeah,
and
I
get
can
that.
take a picture of it. None of the top draft picks have gone yet, though, which is kind of wild.